Welcome to the PR Maven Podcast, a podcast all about growing your network and building your brand through traditional and digital networking techniques. I'm Nancy Marshall, the PR Maven and CEO of Marshall Communications. Stay tuned for this week's episode, and thanks for listening. Welcome, PR Maven Nation, to this week's episode, one of our mini episodes, a quick and informative look at why it is important to mean it when you ask someone, "How are you?" The podcast is presented by Marshall Communications, creator of the 65-step Marshall Plan process. For more information, visit marshallpr.com. And on the website under PR Maven, you will find information about my two books, PR Works and Grow Your Audience, Grow Your Brand. This week, I'm sharing my Forbes Agency Council article entitled Mean It When You Ask Someone, "How Are You?" So let's dive right in. I recently dislocated my shoulder while skiing. If you haven't had this happen before, you know it's about as painful as any injury can be, especially when that shoulder is dislocated. Not only is the injury itself painful, but it also brought my own ski season to a halt, which isn't that long for starters for somebody who loves to ski. As a Mainer, skiing has always been one of my favorite activities, so any obstacle barring me from the slopes is a major bummer. Plus, you can't ride the Peloton or attend your classes at Pure Barre with a dislocated shoulder. So that has brought an end to a lot of my exercise. But enough about me. The injury recently opened my eyes to a social faux pas that needs to stop. It has to do with the throwaway line, "How are you?" When I see people in passing now, their first instinct is to ask, "How are you?" And in truth, you could find a better thing to say. But most people don't actually mean it. They only ask to check a box. And you can tell easily. Most often than not, people don't even listen to the response and respond accordingly. Their stare goes blank. Their attention immediately wanders as soon as I begin to answer the question. They don't really care. This needs to stop. If you actually don't care or don't have the time to listen, don't even ask the question in the first place. Checking the box is more disrespectful than not asking at all, at least in my view. The "how are you" doesn't have to be a throwaway line. On the contrary, it can be used effectively to convey care and compassion. It may even demonstrate the basic level of respect that turns strangers into acquaintances and acquaintances into friends. If someone looks me in the eye and genuinely asks, "How are you?" listening to the tale of woe, it is always appreciated. It is greatly appreciated, which is why I do the same to others. The simple act of listening instantly makes me more interested in the other person, since social interaction is a two-way street. It's a matter of memorability. I remember that they listened and expressed concern. They don't have to fix my shoulder. They just have to care. Compassion matters. In today's world, with the COVID-19 pandemic lingering, everyone has something going on in their lives. Life isn't easy during normal times, let alone abnormal ones. With that in mind, try not to ask stock questions. Don't leave your social interactions cold and impersonal. Look people in the eye. Listen, then respond. Show you care. Ironically, how you interact socially becomes a part of your personal brand, how you're defined as a person by others. Do you want to be known as the person who cares about people, or the one who asks them stock questions and just checks off boxes? Being compassionate stands out. You will stick out to others, whether it's a family member or an employee. According to research, leaders who are empathetic fare far better when it comes to employee job satisfaction. And during this time of employee shortages, we all need to do whatever we can to retain employees. It's a basic yet profound concept all at once. There's a reason why U.S. presidents visit the sites of national tragedies. There's a reason why presidents hug babies, at least before the pandemic. They're not just showing face. They're conveying care and compassion to the general public with the hope that they'll be remembered as warm and personable. It's the right thing to do, optics aside. But you don't have to be a president to keep people in heart and mind. You don't have to solve problems or save lives. Just be there. Actually, be there. Be there in your daily interactions, no matter how mundane they may seem. You will make a positive impact on the world around you, and it won't be forgotten by the people who matter most, from clients to parents and spouses. This magic happens in person. When we interact with others, actual chemicals like oxytocin and serotonin are released, bringing a sense of happiness and calmness. So I need some of that. They're what we call feel-good chemicals. We can never underestimate the power of social interaction, the connections that keep us all going. The magic starts with a "how are you?" But remember, only ask it if you mean it. For more insight, please get access to my latest book, Grow Your Audience, Grow Your Brand, by visiting prmaven.com/giveaway and download a free copy today. Here is my friend Mike Duguay to share how PR works and Grow Your Audience, Grow Your Brand have helped him.
After reading PR Works, I really started to think about how marketing actually works. And I know that sounds a little bit ridiculous, but what I realized is that each platform nowadays that we use out there in digital media and social media has its own nuance and also quirks to it. And understanding how they're used is exceedingly important. Because when you have a hammer in your hand, everything looks like a nail. And you can't approach it that way in marketing. And that's where I think Nancy's brilliance really shined in PR Works. I think Grow Your Audience, Grow Your Brand is really sort of the manifesto of understanding that there's many different levels to marketing. It's on your personal side of your brand, how actually you express yourself through business, but also what people hear you saying and what they see out there in the public eye as well. So I think what's really important there, that's really the blueprint of how you go about using these new social media platforms, but also to express who you are as a human being. Because people want to see you authentically and genuinely working with not only what you do, but also with the customers. And Nancy, on a personal level, I think that's who she is. She embodies that approach.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the PR Maven podcast. I invite you to share a review of the podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. You can also join the PR Maven Nation on Facebook. It's free to join, and it's a great community of like-minded individuals who are all looking to learn and grow from one another. If you use an Alexa device, use your Alexa app to search the Skills and Games section to find and enable the PR Maven podcast flash briefing. This will give you access to exclusive content and more PR and marketing advice. Thanks again for listening, and have a great rest of your week, PR Maven Nation.